It begins with just a voice. Warm, smooth, soulful. Kevon Edmonds' 1999 solo hit 24/7 glides across the airwaves like velvet. A love song wrapped in honesty, pain, and longing. It wasn't a chart topper. It didn't win a Grammy. But ask any true R&B fan, and they'll tell you, this was one of the greatest ballads of its time. So why didn't the man behind that voice become a household name? Why did one of the finest vocalists of his generation fade into the margins, remembered mainly as someone's brother? Kevon Edmonds wasn't just the lead singer of the platinum-selling group After 7. He wasn't just the older sibling of Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, one of the most powerful producers in music history. He was, and remains, a powerhouse vocalist, a master of emotional restraint, and one of R&B's most underappreciated artists. This is not the story of failure. It's a story of quiet success, buried under a louder name. The tale of Kevon Edmonds is not just about fame denied. It's about legacy overlooked, and the bittersweet beauty of grace in the shadow of greatness. In the modest city of Indianapolis, Indiana, music wasn't just entertainment for the Edmonds family. It was lifeblood. Kevon Edmonds was the second-born of 6 brothers in a family brimming with musicality. But as the eldest of the siblings who entered the spotlight, Kevon bore a different kind of role, the quiet trailblazer. The household was led by Marvin and Barbara Edmonds, both lovers of music. Their father, an electrician by trade, also played the guitar. Their mother, a schoolteacher, sang in church choirs. And from a young age, the Edmonds boys followed suit. Kevon, years before Babyface was even a nickname, was the one singing lead in family groups. He had a calm intensity, not flashy, not loud, but commanding. Kenneth, younger by several years, watched and listened. As Babyface's rise to fame began, first with The Deal, then as a producer for Whitney Houston, Toni Braxton, TLC, and countless others, Kevon's path was slower, quieter. He wasn't in a rush. He was refining something. Not beats, not charts, a voice, a presence. While Kenneth entered boardrooms, studios, and Billboard rankings, Kevon stayed rooted in performance. His focus wasn't about conquering the industry. It was about craft. But eventually, the industry came calling, just not on his own terms. In 1987, 3 men came together to form a group that would change the face of late 80s and early 90s R&B. Kevon Edmonds, Melvin Edmonds, his brother, and Keith Mitchell, a college friend. They called themselves After 7, a name born from their working schedules, rehearsing after 7 p.m. With Babyface already a hit-making machine, After 7 had immediate access to the best producers, the best songs, and the sharpest industry eyes. Their self-titled debut album in 1989 was an unexpected success. Ready or Not, Can't Stop, and Heat of the Moment climbed the charts, blending smooth harmonies with sincere emotional delivery. And at the core was Kevon. His voice didn't belt like Luther. It didn't soar like Brian McKnight, but it spoke, intimate, conversational, warm like a fire on a cold night. After 7 became synonymous with class and elegance in R&B. They weren't reinventing the genre, they were perfecting it. But even as the group gained momentum, a shadow loomed. Babyface's involvement, co-writing, co-producing, co-signing, brought instant credibility. But it also blurred the lines. Was After 7 standing on their own? Or were they riding the coattails of a family name? It's a fair question, and one that perhaps stifled Kevon's individual recognition. Audiences, critics, even the label, they saw Babyface's fingerprints and assumed control. Few stopped to listen, really listen, to the soul at the center. And that soul was Kevon Edmonds. By the mid-90s, After Seven had secured a place in R&B history. But then, silence. The group quietly disbanded in 1997, and Kevon was left with a question. What happens when the grid fades? And the spotlight was never really yours to begin with. In 1999, Kevon Edmonds re-emerged with a solo project that stunned critics and fans alike. The album was called 24/7, and its title track became a Quiet Storm staple. A love song so pure, so achingly heartfelt, that it felt like an open letter. The vocals were restrained, never oversung. The production, polished, but never overwhelming. Kevon sang like a man who'd lived every word. But despite the praise, 24/7 never reached the heights it deserved. It peaked modestly on R&B charts and barely scratched the surface of pop. Why? Some blame marketing. RCA failed to promote him with the same fervor given to younger, flashier acts. Others point to the changing landscape of R&B in the late 90s. Boyz II Men had peaked. Usher was ascending. The genre was shifting toward hip-hop-infused sounds and visual branding. Kevon's aesthetic? Mature, subtle, suited, an era chasing edge and energy. Kevon offered vulnerability and grace. And that, in a twisted irony, made him hard to sell. It wasn't just about sound. It was about identity. He wasn't Babyface with a production empire. He wasn't Tyrese with abs and attitude. He was just a man who could sing. The industry, as it often does, chose marketability over merit. Kevon Edmonds joined the long, quiet line of artists who never became stars, not because they lacked talent, but because they didn't fit the mold. Like LaToya Jackson to Janet. Like Solange before a seat at the table. Like every sibling who lived in the echo of someone else's name. Kevon didn't complain. He performed. He wrote. He kept the faith. But his voice, the one that could have headlined arenas, remained tucked away in compilations, playlists, and memories. Kevon Edmonds didn't disappear. He evolved. In the years that followed his solo debut, he remained active behind the scenes, mentoring younger artists, lending vocals, and quietly touring. He didn't need paparazzi or platinum. He had purpose. In 2016, After Seven made a surprise return with their album, Timeless. The lead single, Let Me Know, marked a poignant comeback. Kevon's voice, now seasoned with age, had lost none of its elegance. If anything, it had deepened, matured. He wasn't chasing relevance. He was embodying it. Fans were stunned. They're still this good? And the answer was yes, because true talent doesn't expire. It waits. Kevon's performances became emotional events. Not concerts, confessions. He sang with the weight of someone who had been overlooked, but never broken. Unlike many artists who burn out or lash out at the system, Kevon chose dignity. He never badmouthed Babyface, never begged for a second chance, never tried to reinvent himself for TikTok or trends. He stayed Kevon Edmonds, and in doing so, he carved a quieter legacy, one of consistency, humility, and quiet brilliance. Today, you'll still find him performing, still giving everything to every note. His voice remains medicine, even if the world wasn't always listening. In a world obsessed with fame, numbers, and names, Kevon Edmonds reminds us of something deeper. That legacy isn't measured in headlines. It's heard in the voices that never had to shout. He wasn't just Babyface's brother. He wasn't just the lead in a 90s R&B group. He was, and is, a singular voice. One that knew heartbreak. One that knew restraint. One that deserved more. So did the industry bury him? Or did we just never take the time to listen closely? Kevon Edmonds was never a failure. He was a masterclass in soul, patience, and quiet resilience. Sometimes the brightest stars don't burn the loudest. They glow in private, giving warmth to those who find them. And for those who do find him, whether through Ready or Not, 24/7, or a live show decades later, they discover something timeless. A voice, a story, a legacy. He wasn't just forgotten, he was never really seen. He wasn't just Babyface's brother. He was a voice that could heal, if only we'd listened. If this story moved you, and you believe voices like Kevon Edmonds deserve to be heard, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories of music's forgotten legends.